Hey everybody. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I figured we could watch a little video and check that out. It's a little bit strange. So let me see if I can get that pulled up here. Oh yeah, by the way, my name is Cassie and this is Crochet and Chill. Today is actually a chill day because my wrist is hurting. So no crochet today. Well, not very much anyway. Alright. So this is called 15 Dark Cartoon Theories That Will Ruin Your Childhood. So let's see what it's about. Hopefully y'all like it. And I'll try to remember to pause it so we don't get copyright or something. Let's get to it.
It's all right, Chucky. Don't be scared.
Who didn't love cartoons as a kid? What joy to kick back with a bowl of cereal and watch funny drawings come to life. Cartoons are innocent and joyous. Or at least they're supposed to be. But some people have some pretty intense theories that might ruin your favorite animations.
Think calm, Eddie. Think. I know. I'll hide it.
These are 15 dark cartoon theories that will ruin your childhood.
Before we actually get started, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and see more of the craziness. And if you like the video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. It really helps. So, back to it. Scary Cherry.
Number 15. The Cars Overthrew Mankind. If you've watched the Pixar movie, Cars, you know it takes place on Earth, but in a future where humans have mysteriously vanished. So what happened to us? Was it another catastrophic event like the meteorite that ended the dinosaurs? According to one theory, the cars themselves simply took over and overthrew humanity. This idea fits into a larger, intricate theory that connects all of the Pixar movies into one.
Hang on, y'all. I don't know if I'm alright with that one. Ain't no more people, and the cars are taking over? No. How would it... I don't know how it would even work, because cars don't have hands. Or a whole lot of other things.
Shared universe. But let's focus on the Cars world for now. In the universe of Cars, there are clear signs that humans once existed. After all, we created cars in the first place. The theory suggests that as we developed increasingly intelligent cars, they eventually became sentient, and once they did, we humans became...
Is that like that AI stuff they're talking about? That they have now that looks like people and all that?
obsolete. This theory gained further credibility when...
Hold on, what's obsolete?
eventually became sentient, and once they did, we humans became obsolete. This theory gained further credibility when Jay Ward, the creative director of the Cars universe, seemed to support it. So perhaps it's no longer just a theory, but a fact. The cars in the Cars franchise evolved to become smarter than us and ultimately took over the world. The next time you hop in your car, you might start to wonder if it's plotting something.
Before we go on, like this video, smash the...
Yeah, don't forget to like the video, smash the subscribe button, and ring the little bell for both our channels.
subscribe button and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
That is not okay.
Number 14. Ed, and Eddie are trapped in purgatory.
Before we get started on this one, I've heard about this and is pretty sad.
The theory that Ed, and Eddie are stuck in purgatory began circulating in 2012, suggesting that all the characters in the show are actually dead. Take a look at their tongues, for instance.
Unalived.
They're blue or green, much like what you'd expect from the deceased. Their skin tone is also peculiar, with a yellowish hue that matches the look of dead bodies. Another odd detail is the complete absence of adults. They're mentioned but never seen.
You know, I never noticed that there were no adults in that. But then again, I wasn't really looking for adults either. Who else didn't notice there was adults in that?
Which is quite suspicious. The theory that they're in purgatory could also explain the show's time inconsistencies. You'll see typewriters in some episodes and VHS players in others, and then suddenly they're using computers. This doesn't add up. Typically, you would.
That never even crossed my mind whenever I was a kid. Like, why is there so many different... Yeah. Too many different times happening at the same time.
Wouldn't find such a wide range of technology coexisting in a single time period. The theory argues that this is because each character comes from a different era of American history, spanning from the 1920s to the year 2000. That's why there are so many historical inconsistencies. Whether or not the show's creator did this on purpose, it sure fits the eerie theory. Number 13. Wile E. Coyote is trapped in hell. Wile E. Coyote, the classic cartoon
I've never heard this one. Have y'all?
that debuted in 1949, is all about the coyote's relentless pursuit of the Roadrunner, only to fail spectacularly every time. The Roadrunner always manages to outsmart the coyote, usually at the last second, and often in a mock.
Let me rephrase that. I've heard of the show and I used to watch it, but I never thought about Wile E. Coyote like that. So, and that was my phone.
Way. If you've seen this cartoon, you know the coyote's plans blow up in his face. Literally, thousands, if not millions of times. Yet, no matter how many times he fails, he always returns to this torturous world where his goal is always just out of reach. Sound like torture? That's exactly what one theory suggests. It proposes that the coyote is stuck in his own personal hell, doomed to repeat his failures for all eternity. This idea is reminiscent of the Greek myth of Tantalus, who was punished by the gods to be eternally thirsty, with water always just out of reach. For a kids' show, the idea of eternal...
That would severely suck, being thirsty and being able to see the water and cannot get to it. Just saying.
suffering is pretty dark, don't you think? Number 12. The Brenda Theory. The Powerpuff Girls are one person. According to this intriguing conspiracy theory, the Powerpuff Girls aren't three separate superheroes, but rather three different personalities.
I've never heard of this one either. So let's see what it is.
Of a single, ordinary girl named Brenda. It suggests that Brenda developed dissociative. Number 12. The Brenda Theory. The Powerpuff Girls are one person. According to this intriguing conspiracy theory, the Powerpuff Girls aren't three separate superheroes, but rather three different personalities of a single, ordinary girl named Brenda. It suggests that Brenda developed dissociative identity disorder, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, after enduring years of severe bullying from her brother. Dissociative identity disorder is a very real and serious condition, often triggered by traumatic experiences so overwhelming that the person creates alternative personalities to cope. In Brenda's case, she supposedly created three distinct personas with unique traits to bravely combat the villain.
Let's all take a second for mental health, because that stuff's real. I am living proof. It's not easy. Definitely not.
Villain she imagined. This would mean that the entire series is happening inside Brenda's mind. Her brother, who tormented her, becomes Mojo Jojo in her imagination. Remember that Mojo Jojo was created by Professor Utonium, which could symbolize him being Brenda's older brother. Each Powerpuff Girl represents a different aspect of Brenda's psyche. Buttercup embodies her anger and thirst for revenge, while Bubbles reflects her sensitivity and innocence. Blossom, on the other hand, represents the ideal version of herself, calm, beautiful, and intelligent. The mayor could symbolize Brenda's feelings of helplessness and her need for guidance, which she seeks through her imaginary world. This theory fits so perfectly with the details of the show that it's almost hard to believe it isn't true. Number 11.
And I'm sorry about the audio. Well, I am, but I'm not. But I'm not sure how the audio to this is even turning out. Maybe y'all can only hear me. Maybe y'all can only hear the video. But hopefully y'all's at least enjoying the video. So let's get back to it.
The Rugrats are all in Angelica's imagination.
Yep, heard of that
Have
one.
you heard about the theory that the Rugrats never actually happened? It's a dark theory that started on Tumblr, suggesting that all the babies in the show were figments of Angelica's imagination, created as a way to cope with her absentee parents. According to Tumblr user Radio Retaliation, Chucky died along with his mother, which explains why his father is so neurotic and constantly anxious. Tommy was a stillborn, which would account for why his father, Stu, is always in the basement making toys for the son he never got to meet and play with. As for the DeVilles, they had an abortion. Since Angelica didn't know the baby's gender, she imagined them as twins, a boy and a girl. This theory completely transforms the tone of what was once a seemingly innocent and fun children's cartoon. In this version, Angelica constructs an entire group of friends in her mind, friends who might have been with her if not for death. Through this imagined world, she can take out her frustrations on them without fear of abandonment. It's a chilling thought, and perhaps a bit too dark for a show aimed at toddlers.
That is extremely disturbing for a child show, but still one of my favorites. What do y'all think? Is that too out there for that to actually be what's going on with that show? Let me know.
Number 10. Ash from Pokemon is in a coma. This theory hinges on the idea that in the very first episode of Pokemon, Ash falls into a coma after being struck by Pikachu's powerful thunder attack. Although Pikachu's intent was to fend off a flock of
Just a second. Alright, sorry about that. It was an ad.
hero, the attack somehow ended up hitting Ash.
Oh, I'll
As the
rewind it for you.
Number 10. Ash from Pokemon is in a coma. This theory hinges on the idea that in the very first episode of Pokemon, Ash falls into a coma after being struck by Pikachu's powerful thunder attack. Although Pikachu's intent was to fend off a flock of Spearow, the attack somehow ended up hitting Ash. As the theory goes, everything that happens in the series afterward is simply a dream Ash is having while lying in a hospital bed, where he remains in a coma for years. One piece of evidence that supports this theory is that Ash never seems to age. At one point during the first season, Ash states that he's 10 years old, and he stays that age throughout all.
That is a good point. I just thought it was normal. Of course, I was like really young.
All the seasons. If a child were in a coma, it would make sense that their mind would keep them at the same age until they wake up. This theory also offers an explanation for why Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny look identical in every town. Perhaps they're just figments of Ash's imagination. Another suspicious element is that
I personally just thought it was poor choice of art for this show.
Ash never seems to progress beyond a certain point in his journey, which some find very telling. Number 9. Peter Pan is the Angel of Death. Peter
Yeah,
Pan
that
is a
one too.
timeless Disney classic, but there's a theory that suggests a darker meaning behind the story. According to this theory, Peter Pan isn't just a carefree boy who never grows up. He's actually an angel of death guiding deceased children to the afterlife, which is
Well, that's kind of a lot disturbing, the way he put that.
represented by Neverland. This is why the children in Neverland never age. They're already dead. When you delve into the origins of the Peter Pan story, this theory starts to make unsettling sense. Disney didn't create the story. It was originally written by Scottish author Sir James Matthew Barrie. The original title was Peter and Wendy. Barrie's younger brother, David, tragically died in an ice skating accident just days before his 14th birthday. The loss of his brother deeply affected Barrie and his mother, who found comfort in the idea that David would never grow old. Given this background, it's easy to see how David might have inspired the character of Peter Pan. Additionally, the name Pan comes from an ancient Greek god who was associated with nature, mischief, and immortality. Though we can't confirm Barrie's true intentions, there's a strong possibility that Peter Pan was meant to be more than just a playful child. He may indeed be an angel of death. Number 8. Garfield.
How'd y'all like that one? That was... yeah. Let me know in the comments.
Is dying of starvation. In
What?
October 1989, a series of Garfield comic strips was released that completely unsettled fans. These strips depicted Garfield waking up to find himself in an empty, abandoned house, slowly coming to the realization that he had been alone for years. This twist led to a chilling interpretation. All the happy, food-filled adventures of the grumpy, lasagna-loving cat that we know and love were nothing but Garfield's dream.
I've never heard of that ever. Like this theory about Garfield. Yeah.
Desperate escape from the harsh reality of his life. Fans were quick to form their own theory for years. This twist led to a chilling interpretation. All the happy, food-filled adventures of the grumpy, lasagna-loving cat that we know and love were nothing but Garfield's dream. A desperate escape from the harsh reality of his life. Fans were quick to form their own theories about what was really happening. Some believed Garfield had died and was trapped in hell. Others speculated that Garfield was actually a starving stray cat, hallucinating about a home and an owner who fed him daily.
Have y'all ever had theories about Garfield like that? Because I've only ever seen Garfield as just a cat with a guy and a dog. But yeah, let me know if y'all have ever had theories about Garfield like that. I've heard a whole bunch of theories about other ones, but not ever Garfield.
The latter theory seems to hold more weight, especially considering Garfield's constant dreams about food and his obsession with lasagna. Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield, has repeatedly stated that the Halloween-themed strip was simply intended to spook readers. However, many remain skeptical, believing that perhaps all the other comic strips are just dreams within that one eerie Halloween strip. What do you think? Now it's time for the sweet topic. On the left, you can see classic 90s cartoon character Dexter from the classic 90s cartoon Dexter's Laboratory. And on the right? On the right, you can see a character that looks mostly like Dexter, but just a little bit off. Mainly, he looks as if he's significantly less intelligent. Some viewers are convinced that they saw the version on the right flicker up on screen for brief moments during the original show. But why? The conspiracy theory is that animators working on the show
Did y'all ever see that? I didn't.
secretly hated it, so slipped in the odd subliminal frames of the character looking goofy and unintelligent. Now we all have access to freeze frame technology. It's worth rewatching the show and trying to catch those moments. As always, let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below using the hashtag #SweetTopic. Number 7. Scooby-Doo wet during an economic depression. Ever wondered why every place the gang visits in Scooby-Doo seems completely run down? There's an urban legend that explains this by suggesting the show is set
Because they're haunted and they have ghosts.
during a severe economic depression. This theory goes further, proposing that the depression was so bad it even affected celebrities, athletes, and scientists, driving them to a life of petty crime disguised as monsters. Why else would people with such high-paying skill sets resort to such bizarre activities? This theory also offers an explanation for why every school the gang visits is deserted, with no sign of students or normal life. Another detail supporting this theory is the fact that the gang is always driving around in their van with no clear destination, suggesting they might be homeless nomads. There's also the well-known theory that Scooby and Shaggy are constantly high. Think about it. They're always hungry, which could be the munchies. They're also
That's valid. Everybody has said that my whole life. I've heard that one.
slow, forgetful, and frequently sleep, classic signs of marijuana use. And if you want something even darker, some suggest that Shaggy is actually a drug addict, and his hallucinations lead him to believe that his
Shaggy ain't no dang drug addict. Stop all that.
recently deceased dog is still alive and can
Hold on, y'all. More ads. So I'll rewind this just a little bit.
want something even darker, some suggest that Shaggy is actually a drug addict, and his hallucinations lead him to believe that his recently deceased dog is still alive and can even talk. I bet you'll never look at Scooby-Doo the same way again. Number 6. Squidward's disturbing reality. If you're familiar with creepypastas, you've probably come across the unsettling meme of Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants taking his own life. This disturbing meme originated in the dark corners of the internet, such
I've never seen that one either. Have y'all? Let me know.
as 4chan and Reddit, where users would alter still images from the show, infusing them with horror elements, thus earning the term creepypasta. It's in these obscure corners that the meme of Squidward's suicide first appeared. The image depicted Squidward with a pitch-black background and glowing red eyes, an eerie and terrifying sight. For years, this meme circulated primarily within horror fan communities online. However, things took a strange turn when the show's animators decided to reference this meme in one of the episodes, despite the fact that SpongeBob SquarePants is primarily a children's show. The episode in question shows SpongeBob and Squidward exploring a town that defies logic. At one point, a row of doors appears,
I think I
and when
remember that one.
Squidward opens one, he is confronted by alternate versions of himself. The episode takes a nightmarish turn, especially when one of the doors reveals a version of Squidward who has taken his own life. The imagery is chilling, and it's startling to see such dark content in a children's show. This particular scene not only shocked viewers, but also reignited discussions about the boundaries of what should be included in children's programming. The decision to incorporate such a disturbing visual
You know, I really don't. I mean, I remember that episode, but I don't remember that image. But that could just be me and bad memory.
into an episode targeted at young audiences has led to debates about whether it was a creative nod to internet culture or an inappropriate inclusion that crossed a line. Many fans of the show were left wondering what prompted the animators to include such a morbid reference, and whether it was meant as a subtle commentary on the darker side of fan culture. Number 5. Toy Story 3 and the Holocaust Theory. Among the darkest of cartoon
I've heard this one a whole bunch of times, I think. If it's the same theory.
theories is the one suggesting that Toy Story 3 is a metaphor for the Holocaust. This theory, shocking as it may be, draws parallels between the plot of the beloved Pixar film and one of the most tragic events in human history. The theory begins with a speech Woody gives at the start of the film, which some believe mirrors a speech from The Pianist, a renowned Holocaust drama directed by Roman Polanski. As the story unfolds, The toys decide to hide in the attic, reminiscent of Anne Frank, the young Jewish girl who hid in an attic during the Nazi occupation.
Hmm.
Later, the toys are packed into a box
That I did not know.
and taken to a daycare center, which some interpret as a symbol for the trains that transported people to concentration camps. While a daycare center may seem harmless in the movie, it's far from a safe place for the toys. They are neglected by the children until they are broken, after which they are sent down a waste chute, a dark reference to gas chambers according to the theory. The daycare center, known as Sunnyside, initially appears to be a sanctuary for the toys, much like how concentration camps were deceptively presented as places of safety. However, it quickly becomes a place of suffering, with the toys facing harsh treatment and confinement. This aligns with the historical deception used by the Nazis to lure Jews and other persecuted groups into a false sense of security before leading them to their deaths. Furthermore, the character of Lotso, the daycare's tyrannical leader, could be seen as a representation of the Nazi regime. His manipulation, cruelty, and ultimate betrayal of the toys mirror the actions of totalitarian leaders during the Holocaust. Lotso's backstory, filled with loss and bitterness, adds to the complexity of his character, making him a symbol of the hatred that fueled the
I really didn't like that movie. I liked all the other ones, but that one was a little bit weird to me. Yeah.
atrocities of that time. The climactic scene where the toys face the incinerator is perhaps the most striking parallel. As they hold hands, accepting what seems to be their inevitable fate, the scene evokes the tragic final moments of those who perished in the Holocaust. Their last-minute rescue could be interpreted as a symbol of hope and survival against all odds, a theme that resonates with stories of Holocaust survivors. The similarities between the events in Toy Story 3 Ows and the Holocaust are unsettling, and they're too numerous for some to dismiss as mere coincidence. This theory forces viewers to reconsider the film from a much darker perspective, turning a heartwarming story into
Also, another thing about Toy Story, if one of those dolls did become unalive, how would Andy know? He'd just be playing with a body of a doll that's not alive anymore. Creepy thought.
a chilling allegory of one of the darkest chapters in human history. Number 4, Mr. Krabs rescued Pearl from hunters. There are numerous theories about Mr.
That would explain why she's a whale and he's a crab.
Krabs and his daughter Pearl, especially since it seems unlikely that a crab could be the biological father of a whale. One of the most compelling theories suggests that Mr. Krabs rescued Pearl when she was a baby after hunters or fishermen killed her mother. Seeing the orphaned and frightened Pearl, Mr. Krabs decided to raise her as his own. This theory makes sense, especially considering Mr. Krabs' extreme fear of hooks, a fear he frequently warns Patrick and SpongeBob about. He might associate hooks with the tragic event that led him to rescue.
What if I told you that you could block all ads or get paid to see them? Why don't
Now I gotta go back again. These dang ads. Alright, let's see. Back to it.
She was a baby after hunters or fishermen killed her mother. Seeing the orphaned and frightened Pearl, Mr. Krabs decided to raise her as his own. This theory makes sense, especially considering Mr. Krabs' extreme fear of hooks, a fear he frequently warns Patrick and SpongeBob about. He might associate hooks with the tragic event that led him to rescue Pearl. While Mr. Krabs is typically stingy with money, he's always willing to give Pearl whatever she asks for, perhaps out of guilt for not being able to save her mother. Pearl is the one exception to Mr. Krabs' otherwise miserly ways, suggesting that his love for her runs deep, rooted in a sense of responsibility and perhaps lingering guilt. This theory also helps explain why Pearl, a whale, has so little in common with her crab father beyond their close emotional bond. Her size, personality, and interests all diverge significantly from Mr. Krabs, which is more than just a humorous oddity in the show. Instead, it could be seen as a reflection of her different species and background. Mr. Krabs, despite his gruff exterior and obsession with money, shows genuine affection and concern for Pearl, which hints at a deeper, more complex relationship than is often explored in the series. Additionally, this theory opens the door to considering the broader implications of Mr. Krabs' character. His frugality might not just be a comedic trait, but also a coping mechanism for the loss and trauma he experienced when he rescued Pearl. Perhaps his obsession with money is a
I get it. Use money to hide your emotions and all the problems.
way to ensure that he can always provide for her, compensating for the fact that he could not protect her mother. There are other theories about Mr. Krabs and Pearl, but this one seems to align the best with the show's narrative. It's something to consider the next time you watch the show. Number 3, the Smurfs are anti-Semitic and racist. Antoine Bueno, a professor at the Paris-based University Sciences Po, has stirred significant
Some blue people are racist. I don't think so.
debate with his controversial analysis of the Smurf society, detailed in a book where he argues that the Smurfs world is not just innocent fun, but rife with underlying themes of anti-Semitism and racism. According to Bueno, the Smurfs live under what can only be described as a political dictatorship. In this society, individualism is strongly discouraged, and the Smurfs conform to a communal lifestyle where everyone eats together and follows the directives of a
That's because they're characters in a movie. That's a cartoon. Yeah, not humans.
singular leader, Papa Smurf. They rarely, if ever, venture beyond their homeland, creating an insular community that Bueno suggests mirrors the characteristics of communist Russia. However, the theory doesn't stop there. Bueno goes on to argue that Gargamel, the primary antagonist in the Smurfs, is a direct anti-Semitic caricature. With his exaggerated features, obsession with gold, and persistent desire to capture the Smurfs, Gargamel embodies harmful stereotypes
Yeah, I can't stand Gargamel. He gets on my dang nerves. But he's goofy.
historically associated with Jewish
That
people.
poor cat.
This interpretation reimagines a beloved childhood show as a portrayal of a totalitarian utopia, where the Smurfs' idyllic village life is actually a thinly veiled metaphor for a politically repressive state. Adding to the discomfort, one particular episode depicts the Smurfs being bitten by a fly, which turns their skin black and takes away their ability to speak. Bueno sees this as a representation of colonialist attitudes, where those who are different, marked by the color change, are rendered voiceless and marginalized. The fact that these elements align so well with darker historical and political themes makes this theory all the more unsettling. It forces us to
Okay, but I didn't see that episode.
reconsider what we thought was just a simple, lighthearted cartoon, revealing disturbing undertones that have gone unnoticed for decades. Number 2, Snow White and cocaine addiction. The theory that Snow White is a metaphor for cocaine addiction has been circulating for a long time, and when you examine the details, it's easy to see why some people are convinced. The name Snow White itself serves as a direct reference to the appearance of cocaine, which is a white powder that closely resembles snow in its pure form. But the connections don't stop there. The 7 dwarfs, whose names are Happy, Grumpy, Dopey, Sleepy, and Sneezy, seem to represent various stages and effects of cocaine use and withdrawal. For instance, Happy and Grumpy could symbolize the
I feel like that's a long stretch. But that could just be me.
extreme mood swings that are commonly experienced by those using cocaine. Intense euphoria, followed by irritability. Dopey, with his slow-witted and spacey behavior, reflects the disorientation that comes with drug use. Sleepy represents the inevitable crash, the exhaustion that sets in after the initial high wears off. And sneezy is a clear nod to one of the most well-known physical reactions to snorting cocaine, the frequent sneezing fits that can occur as the body reacts to the irritant. Moreover, the entire plot of Snow White can be seen as a cautionary tale. The big sleep that Snow White falls into after consuming the poisoned apple can be interpreted as a metaphor for a drug overdose, showing the ultimate danger of indulging in addictive substances. The dwarf's helplessness in trying to wake her can reflect the powerlessness of those watching a loved one struggle with addiction. The evil queen's obsession with beauty and youth, leading her to poison Snow White, might also be seen as a reflection of the destructive vanity and insecurities that often accompany substance abuse. While this theory might seem like a stretch to some, the numerous parallels make it difficult to completely dismiss. It offers a darker, more adult interpretation of a story traditionally seen as a simple fairy tale. The idea that a beloved children's story could carry such a hidden meaning is both intriguing and unsettling. Number 1. Winnie the Pooh and psychological disorders.
Heard that one.
For years, people have speculated that each character in Winnie the Pooh represents a different psychological disorder. Recently, the Canadian Medical Association Journal published an article diagnosing each of the beloved characters. Winnie the Pooh is thought to suffer from binge eating disorder, compensating for low self-esteem by overeating. This condition is a serious disorder that affects many people in real life. Piglet is believed to have generalized anxiety disorder, which would explain his constant.
But Piglet's just so cute. I used to want a little Piglet, but I didn't realize that they don't look like Piglet.
Nervousness and discomfort. Eeyore, the perpetually gloomy donkey, is thought to suffer from dysthymic disorder, a chronic form of depression. If that wasn't enough to darken your childhood memories, there are more diagnoses. Tigger's constant hyperactivity and impulsiveness suggest that he has ADHD.
Tigger reminds me of Cambry. And myself. But yeah. Mostly Cambry.
Finally, Rabbit exhibits traits of narcissistic personality disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, which would explain his constant nervousness and discomfort. Eeyore, the perpetually gloomy donkey, is thought to suffer from dysthymic disorder, a chronic form of depression. If that wasn't enough to darken your childhood memories, there are more diagnoses. Tigger's constant hyperactivity and impulsiveness suggest that he has ADHD. Finally, Rabbit exhibits traits of narcissistic personality disorder, often seen in toxic individuals who enjoy making others miserable. As children, we might have seen these characters as quirky and lovable, but as adults, it becomes clear that they represent a group of individuals struggling with serious mental health issues, validating each other's dysfunctional behaviors in a codependent environment. How about you? Have you uncovered any unsettling secrets hidden within an innocent cartoon?
All right. That was that. And I hope y'all like this video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. Let me know Let me know how it was. That way I know whether or not to keep making these kind of videos, because I just figured out how to do it. So hopefully the audio and everything's right. But I will see y'all in the next one. Love y'all. Bye.